Check. 1, 2, 3.
The Debrief. This is the Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's
arts and entertainment scene.
This is the Debrief.
Hello and welcome to the Debrief. I am your co-host. My name is Seth Ressler.
Becky Scarcello.
And Jag.
And this, of course, is one of our Thursday episodes, which means that we are having an in-depth conversation with a mover, a shaker, somebody in the Detroit scene.
A spotlight, if you will.
Yeah, somebody who knows what's going on. I'm not making you nervous by describing you that way, am I? We have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Jennifer Hamra, and she writes the Good Life Detroit blog. Jennifer, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us here today.
Thanks you for having me.
Thank you.
You know what I'm excited about having you on is because I am new to Detroit. I've been here about 3 years. And so for me, a lot of doing this podcast is really about exploring the city and discovering new things and figuring it out. Because there's a lot going on in this city, and there's a lot of weird intricacies that you got to figure out. And you're in the same boat because that's basically what your blog is about, right?
Right.
So, you know, for people who aren't familiar with the blog, describe it a little bit. Tell us a little bit about how you got here and what you're doing.
Okay, so I'm originally from Clarksville, Tennessee, and we moved to the Metro Detroit area. It was about April 2015. My husband got out of the Army, and he had a job offer in Pontiac. And I started the blog originally to share with my family all the things that we were experiencing here. And then I started getting into street photography. And I was featuring my pictures on my blog. And then I decided to just really dive into blogging and start writing about my experiences in Detroit.
And when you say street photography, what are we talking about here?
Well, for me, it's going to festivals, taking pictures of the different things that I see at festivals, taking candid photographs of people, and also taking pictures of any art, urban art, any type of urban scenes in the city, any buildings, monuments, stuff like that.
Jennifer, was there one thing in particular that jumps out at you as when you were new to Detroit and you're walking around, you're taking all these pictures and, wow, this is really cool. Is there one thing in particular you can think of, you remember?
The street art. I was just absolutely amazed because I've seen before we moved here, I had seen murals only on TV and magazines, but when I saw it in person, I was like, wow, this is amazing.
I got to say, I felt the same way. I mean, coming here to Detroit, that was one of the things that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I've been into a lot of cities, but I don't ever feel like I've seen the street art like you see it here.
Amazing talent.
That's really great for me to hear, too, because to me, it's second nature now. I mean, I give tours in the city. I know a lot of artists. It's just the backdrop to my daily life. But it's so true when I travel elsewhere, there's tiny pockets and things, but nothing like here.
Right.
And it's so great to have that perspective of people coming in like, this is something special and something Detroit's really becoming known for, which is super exciting to me.
I remember when I saw the murals, I had asked my husband, are they allowed to do that?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't see anything like that back home.
That's a legit question, and one I get most often, I'd say, on the tours. What's graffiti? What's art? Who can do what on what building?
Well, wait, so
how do you draw that line?
Are they allowed to do that?
Yes, a lot of the murals are endorsed, definitely. So you've got the murals in the Market Festival at Easter Market. That's totally curated. It's like, hey, we're having an art show. It happens to be on buildings. It happens to be huge scale, and it happens to be outdoors, but it's like an outdoor gallery. But others pop up wherever, and they're not necessarily. I mean, they might be on abandoned buildings. There's been controversy, the whole Shepherd Ferry thing, when he painted the huge mural on the building downtown. That was a project that was endorsed. But while he was here in Detroit, he also, quote unquote, tagged other places, and there was actually a court case about it, and he was fined.
Really? I didn't know that.
So is that the difference, Becky, between graffiti and street art, whether you have permission? Is that where you draw the line?
That is kind of the main thrust of it, but also another difference is graffiti is often referred to tagging, where it might be gang related, or it might be something that is a nuisance or not beautifying, so
So Jennifer, what a cool place then for you to come, because this was really, you were learning photography. You didn't know photography before you came here, right?
Right.
You decided to pick it up because of everything that you were seeing?
Yes.
So what have you learned in the process? I mean, where did you start with your photography and where are you now?
I started, I bought myself a DSLR camera, and then I started going to more festivals in Detroit and in Metro Detroit. And then I just researched it. I read books, watched YouTube videos, and then I started taking some workshops in the city.
Nice.
So I got to take a step back. This was not just you and your husband. Who else did you have in tow when you're doing all this?
Well, when we first moved here, we had 3 children, and I was 8.5 months pregnant.
Wow. Jeez.
And you're learning photography,
Yeah.
and you're moving to a new place. Yeah.
And then 9 months ago, I had our 5th baby.
Congratulations.
So, yes,
Wow.
that's awesome.
So that's a lot to do while
Jeez,
you're
yeah.
also exploring a new
Yeah.
city. So you must get a feel pretty quickly, though, for what the family-friendly things are to do in this city.
Yeah.
How does this city rate as a family-friendly city?
Very family friendly.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
In what ways would you say?
Well, a lot of the festivals always encourage people to bring their families, and I really like that. The restaurants that we've been to are very family friendly. Everybody's so friendly, and I love that. If there's a holiday, there's usually a family friendly event first. Like, for instance, New Year's Eve at
Right.
Campus Marshes. There's something for the family, and then after they do the D drop for the kids, then there's something for the adults. So I really like that.
That's so great to hear, because I think there's still a perception out there. I mean, I take my kids everywhere in the city, but there's still, people that maybe are afraid to or aren't sure that it's appropriate or
Right.
whatever. So it's really great that you just kind of dived right in and
Yeah.
finding it very open to
Yeah.
kids of all ages, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
You mentioned the festivals. What are some of your favorites that you've been to in your time here?
Let me think. We've been to the one in Royal Oak.
Art Speeds and Eats.
Art Speeds
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been yet.
Oh, it's
Oh,
fun.
you're going this year, Seth.
It's the
you can park at my house.
It's the same guy who the same event organizer who does the Winter Wonderland. I remember
Exactly.
I interviewed him for the podcast, but I haven't been to Art Speeds and Eats. I've been out of town, I think, the last couple of years.
Well, you're in town this year.
I know.
I've decided.
How do you find out? I mean, because obviously you moved to Detroit before the Debrief podcast was launched. How do you? But seriously, I mean, as somebody who has got kids and is looking for family-friendly entertainment, how do you find out about all the things that are going on around town?
Honestly, Facebook.
Oh,
Yeah.
Different groups and
No, you just go to the events tab and then just put what city that you're looking for the events, and that's how I find a lot of events.
Yeah, it really has become a great news
Yeah.
source. Yeah.
nice.
And did you, when you first came here, Jennifer, because this happened to me when I moved here for the first time in 2011. I left and I came back. But in 2011, I moved here. I grew up in Boston. I was living in Vermont. And, you're going to move to Detroit? Are you sure you want to do that? And since I've been here, I've told everybody how amazing it is and how safe it is and what a wonderful place it is. And especially you with kids. Did you have family or friends that are like, you're going to Detroit?
Yeah, I did. When my husband had told me about his job offer here, I actually didn't know anything about Detroit, but I had other people say, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing
Right.
that. That's
I'm
not
sure.
safe." And
I'm
I was
sure.
like,
The
what?
blog was just a way of proving that you're still alive every day.
Right.
So just hold up a newspaper every day
Still
and take a
here.
photo of yourself so that we know.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say that though, like when I moved here 3 years ago, this is true. Detroit was not on my short list of places to live because, like you, all I knew was the reputation.
Yeah.
And we forget that now the storyline is
very
emerging about the
different.
resurgence of Detroit, but it was not even
No,
3
it's
years
funny
ago.
for me growing up here. I just got so sick of apologizing for Detroit and
Yes.
like standing up for it, defending it. And now it's so gratifying that people are like, "Oh, when I travel elsewhere and tell people what I do, that's so cool. That must be such a great job." And I've heard all these good, and they'll quote like New York Times articles and things
Yeah.
like, and so many people now have been like, "I want to get to Detroit. I want to check it out." And it just feels so good to be on the other side.
Yeah.
And I've always been proud of my city because I feel like it's about the people, and the people are authentic and amazing, and like you said, really friendly. But now we have some other stuff to kind of beef it up, and so it feels good.
Yeah.
So.
So do you feel Detroit pride now?
Yeah.
That's now coming in?
I do.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, when I hear people say bad things about Detroit, or if I see it on Facebook, I get really upset.
Good.
How many Detroit T-shirts do you own in your family?
Right, with all the kids.
Do they start? I mean, because you can just hand them down, right? When you got kids,
That's true.
it's like it's August. All right, everybody just
Switcheroo.
take their drawer out.
Well, also you said, so your kids range in age from, you said 9 months to 18.
Yeah.
And you homeschool them too. So this whole idea of Detroit as your classroom, tell us a little bit about that, like where you take them and what they learn.
Well, we've been to the Detroit Public Library, Michigan Science Center. They really love that.
That's a great, that's a great building.
Yeah.
You take all 5 kids when you go, or
Most of the time I do. Sometimes I just take my teens.
Yeah.
And then sometimes my husband and I just take the little ones, depending on if the teens are doing something else.
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
What other places or activities?
We like to go to downtown Detroit to Campus Martius. And we like to walk around and then go get some water ice and go get pizza. We really love hanging out at Eastern Market a lot. And then we also like to find places that aren't really talked about that much, like the African Bee Museum. We recently went there.
Isn't that an amazing
Yeah.
spot?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what is in the African Bee Museum? I've read about it. I've heard about
Well,
it. I
it's
have
mainly
not been.
outdoors.
Okay.
Okay. And Dobbles is the name of the artist who started it. He's an amazing man and a collector. And so his pieces are oftentimes with mirrors and mosaics and glass, and they have a message behind them. And if you're lucky enough to have him there when you visit, he'll give you a tour.
Oh, cool.
For a few bucks and tell you all about it. And then he also has this amazing display of beads that you can buy and have things made for you, jewelry made for you. So it's a pretty outstanding place. And he has a huge mural in Eastern Market, too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right by the DeQuinder Cut.
So cool. What else has topped your list?
As far as
Just places.
Have you been to the zoo yet?
Yeah, you must have done the zoo.
You-
Oh, you haven't done the zoo.
See the penguins at the zoo. Trust
Yes.
me, see the penguins at the zoo. The kids will love it.
yeah.
Definitely. So what do the kids think about the city? What's their kind of point of view?
They really love it. My older son, who's 18, he absolutely loves it here.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Because that's a hard time to move 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was really hard for them because they left behind a lot of their friends, and then my mom still lives in Tennessee.
Oh, sure.
So, and we have a very close relationship. But she comes out here to visit us since I have so many kids.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Easier for her to travel than you to
Yeah.
travel with the 5 kids.
How did you do that? Because I have not been able to convince any of my family members to come out
Are
yet.
you serious?
Yeah, no, I have not.
Get married. That's how I got my family out here
I'm
last
not
year. They
having-
all came. They all
I
came.
can't do 5 kids, so there's got to be
just
another
get married.
plan B.
Get married and have them all come out for the wedding. That's how I did it last
Have
year.
a baby.
Right.
That's why.
That's a big draw.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think that your family likes you
Right.
until you have a baby and then
Right.
they're like chopped liver.
And then you go-
They
you-
never liked me at all. They just,
How many years can I use the baby can't fly excuse? So that like if I can get like 10 years out of that, I might
no,
do it.
no.
So where are you living now? What's the neighborhood that you're in?
We live in Sterling Heights.
And how is it different from Tennessee?
Metro Detroit, like Detroit.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the whole area.
Well, I'm from an army city, a small army city. So I was used to seeing a lot of people in uniform. So it's when I came here, it was a culture shock for me because I saw so many different cultures and nobody in uniform.
Right.
So it was kind of sad because my parents are in the army, they retired, and my husband did 8.5 years. So sometimes we'd see somebody in uniform and I'd get really excited.
Is there a military community here? I mean,
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay.
I haven't, met anyone. Usually it's somebody who's retired or a veteran.
But that's interesting because that's your normal. That's how you grew up. You were around that your whole life, and now you're not. So you're almost like a fish out of water in that regard.
Yeah. We felt very alone when we came out here because the military life, like that was our life. And he wasn't he didn't want to get out. He was injured when he was deployed. So, yeah, so that was
it wasn't your choice.
Yeah, it wasn't our choice. So it was really hard for us.
But how did you find that the metro area embraced you? Like you mentioned, people are friendly, and it took some time maybe, but
when people find out that he's a veteran, I'm just so amazed because they say thank you, and they're just so thankful. And being from an army city, I guess people are just used to it, so people don't say that, you know. But here it's like, wow, you know, it's like, you're welcome. Like it's just, you just feel really appreciated.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And how about the diversity? You said different cultures and stuff. What have you been able to, you know, Arab American food and different things? What have you enjoyed?
Well, we went to the African festival a couple summers ago, and I really liked that. I had never been to an African festival before, even though I'm African American, and I really loved that. I could also use that as a homeschool opportunity for my kids.
Sure.
And they were just so amazed. They're like, I didn't even know this about my own culture.
That's cool.
You know? And then just like you mentioned, like just different cultures that my kids and I have been exposed to. I really love that. Oh, we went to an Arab festival in Mexican town.
Oh, wow.
Which is something you'd only see in Detroit, an Arab festival in Mexican town.
Sure. But it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and I really like that. We enjoy learning about so many different cultures, and I'm just glad that we have that opportunity here.
Oh, that's great.
So when you're taking the kids out for homeschooling, do you look for and do they get homework based on the events that they go to?
They do get homework. The teens sometimes might have a writing assignment based on an event that we've been to, or I might have them have like a checklist of things to look for when we go to an event.
Are you a tough grader?
Well, I grade differently. I don't grade like public school does, as far as like I issue a grade all the time, because I assess their learning in different ways, you know, like as far as reading their writing or just having conversations with them about what it is that we've experienced.
Jennifer, I don't know anybody that homeschools their kids. Did you have to do anything different in terms of state or certification or anything going from Tennessee to Michigan? Is there anything you had to change or do differently or get certified differently? How does that work?
Well, my background is in English, and I have done teaching before. In Tennessee, it's a little more strict than Michigan. So you do have to report in with the state, but in Michigan you don't.
Really?
Yeah, it's very liberal here.
I would not have known that.
Yeah, very liberal. So I think the requirement is that you have to have your high school diploma or GED, and then you have to teach, you know, like the standard subjects. But other than that, you know, you're free to format your child's education to what fits best for your family.
It sounds like you're taking full advantage of that.
Yeah.
It seems like it seems like almost every day's a field trip because there's so much to see here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of endless.
And you don't even have to fill out a permission slip.
No.
Now, what can people find out on your blog? What nature are your posts?
Well, I consider it a lifestyle blog, and I like to combine my personal experiences, personal stories. Like I write about breastfeeding, since I'm currently breastfeeding. I like to really show like positive aspects of family life, especially as a minority. And then, you know, of course, I include things we do in Detroit or community events or positive community stories and just anything that I find interesting. I like to keep up with current events. You know, if I find a interesting topic in pop culture, you know, I might write about that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's a good way you're your own boss.
Yeah.
Whatever you strikes you.
Yeah.
And I love your Instagram, too.
Thank you.
Visually, you can tell you're coming for photography.
Thank you.
And what's the Instagram, just while we're on the subject?
It's Good Life Detroit.
So as we're approaching summer, which theoretically is going to get here at some point.
The Michigan weather was probably an adjustment for you too, Jennifer.
It was.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward this summer? Like, I'm new here too. So what are some suggestions? What are some things that you think that I should go check out this summer?
I'm really looking forward to the Tuesday market at Eastern Market.
Yes.
I really love that. It's for me, I find it easier to bring all of my kids because it's not as crowded.
You have to come on one of our tours there. I'll hook you up, and you should come and
cool.
write about it on your blog,
Yeah,
and it'll
that would be
come
great.
full circle.
Yeah.
Tuesdays are great.
Yeah.
Like you said, less crowds,
Yeah.
and you can really talk to the vendors.
Right. Really good for when you have younger kids like me. Really looking forward to my teens and I have been talking a lot about using one of the Mogo bikes.
Oh, yeah.
To
Oh, yeah.
ride bikes downtown because we don't have a bike yet. So we're also looking forward to going to a lot of festivals because it seems like in the summer there's always a festival, there's always a carnival.
Yes.
That was another thing that my husband and I noticed when we first moved here. It seemed like every week there was a carnival. We were just so amazed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we love our summertime, too. It's like we
Yeah.
try to pack it all
Yeah.
in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I haven't been to the Woodward, the auto.
the Dream Cruise.
The Dream Cruise. I haven't been to that yet.
Oh,
That is
gotta
incredible.
come. That's like right in my, I guess I would say front yard. I
Yeah.
live right by there.
Wait, because every local I know complains about the Dream Cruise.
We complain because of just traffic wise, but in terms of what goes on there, it's really fun.
I will say I live within walking distance of Woodward, and
me too.
and getting around it is a nightmare.
You have to just embrace it.
But if you have any kind, if you or your husband or your kids or any of you have any kind of modicum of appreciation for cars, what you will see will just leave your jaw on the ground. It's every possible car from every possible year. It's really something to behold.
Is there a right way to do it? Do you bring out the lawn chairs? 'Cause
Yes.
I see people
Yeah.
do that and they just sort of park.
It's kind of a pet peeve of mine because people now they do it weeks before. It's become so much bigger than one day. So
Right.
I kind of like joke about it, but yeah, you just get out there, you chat with people, and then there's different parties all along Woodward, like in a bank parking lot or wherever. And
Radio
there'll be
stations do some
radio
stuff, yep.
stations, food, drinks, T-shirts.
Are you
yeah.
guys sports fans? Have you been to any Tigers games since you've been here?
No, I haven't been to any games.
Oh, you need to go to a Tigers game. There's so much there for the family too. You'll bring the family. You'll have a good time.
Okay.
All right. Well, Jennifer Hamra, thank you so much for taking the time. It's great to have somebody on here who can talk about all the things that you can do when you've got a big family and with
family,
kids.
yeah.
And so thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. People can check out the blog if they want. It's goodlifedetroit.com.
Yes.
And if they want to see the photos, what's the best way to do that?
On Instagram, Good Life Detroit, and then also I'm on Twitter at Good Life Detroit.
All right.
I love the name. I can't believe it wasn't taken. Like,
I
that's
know,
just so
I know.
awesome.
Yeah, I just
Perfect.
couldn't believe it.
You need to
Yeah.
start a line of T-shirts now.
Oh, get some merch. Yeah, definitely.
Well, Jennifer, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
The D Brief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.